how much it is for the sex and skip through the bull. And majority of the men said today in 2024, I would rather just ask her how much it is for the sex because all the bull comes with it. It's no accountability. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with unaliving the women. But at the same time, women are not accountability for what they do. It's like men are just like one of the ladies said on the panel when he said there's some good men out here. She's talking about there's no good men. So you mean to tell me out of this whole world, there's not one, there's not one, in your eyes, there's not one or two good men. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Right. No,
that's ridiculous.
Let me ask you something.
Ain't a thing to say. It's full of hurt. Like, it sounds like therapy.
Who created that system?
So, okay, I need to expand on this point because I keep hearing things about individual situations, and it's the point of the 4B movement is that it's not about these individual scenarios or these individual situations. It's about the collective impact that male people have on female people. The entire system of patriarchy is what has caused these women to feel detached from co-ed societies because they see that they no longer benefit. The entire purpose of the 4B movement is to build female-specific infrastructure so that women no longer have to rely on men. The 4Bs are no marriage, no dating, no sex, and no friendships, or no pregnancy.
Let me speak on the sex part. Let me speak on the sex part.
Women have, hold on, let me finish. And this is because women have recognized that ultimately these things, they bear greater risk, right, for women. Like there's more of a net negative. There's no return on investment for participating in these systems and institutions. So like, yes, a straight woman could find a good man, right? But statistically, she still lacks profit from that situation. Men benefit more from having families, from doing all of these different things that result in the repression of female people. But like, for instance, let's use this example, right? When a man gets married, his pay increases. When he has children, his pay increases. When a woman gets married and has children, she loses hours, she loses income, and she generally loses a gap of time on her resume because she is seen as solely responsible for child rearing. Right? That's not a benefit. She can do all of these things with her own potential, but those create roadblocks for her. So she says, I'm no longer going to participate in that system or institution, right? That's why women have ultimately looked and said, okay, if we remove ourselves, men have a similar movement, right? Where they feel like when women benefit more from the system of society, and they call it men going their own way. They don't get half as much flack as the 4B movement already has, even though it's statistically true that women no longer benefit. Well, women have never benefited, but we explicitly don't benefit now from participating in these systems and institutions. Everything has been industrialized. Women have been removed from the head of the family. A lot of power has been removed from, like, society has become atomized because of the concept of the nuclear family, and women have been largely removed from the roles that they played in society. Even our oral history is lost. So when we see these things, we're like, well, what's the point? We again, like I said earlier, we don't know what female development looks like outside of male interference or influence. And
so let me ask you this question. Do you think as a people, black men, black women all together, do you think we're losing when it comes to other races? Just yes or no?
No.
Oh, geez.
You don't think we're losing when it comes to every other race, the way they stick together, the way they work together?
They don't stick together, though, sir. That's an illusion. There are deep divisions within all communities, sir.
Exactly, but they stick together more than what...
No, they don't.
So when it comes to
do you see what the Chinese men are doing to the Chinese women, stabbing them in the street? Do you see what the Mexican men are doing to the Mexican women?
Exactly.
Beating them to death and kidnapping them and selling them to other... Do you see what the European men are doing to the women in Belgium and selling them to all these other...
See, y'all talking about outside the country. I'm talking about right here where we are today.
The Salem witch trials was white men against white women. Like, I mean, they were literally setting them on fire as stakes. Like,
we're talking about the whole world, right? There's in America, it tends to exist in this little bubble, but that's not like this. Globally, that's still not true. Women's
But the
struggles
world
are
don't affect
represented
us.
globally. We can't say that, oh, in America
The
it's this way
world
or
don't
that way.
affect us.
Even
The world
white
don't
men aren't
affect us
sticking up for
today.
white women like that. Asian
Not with
women
no
aren't sticking up for Asian
relationships.
women like that.
Stop interrupting her.
When you see these Western quote unquote nationalists, all of these men are united together before they are with their women. They might throw racial slurs here and there, but ultimately it's a good old boys club. Men stick together, and there will always be racial hierarchies in those groups like that. But remember, every man got the right to vote before any women did.
I want
Just a little,
to paint a
hold on,
picture.
just a brief intermission. I'm sorry. Please continue to tap the screen. There's 500 people in here, which is great. If you feel that the guests are cooking, please reward the guests. I don't want anything from anyone. I don't know how to say your name, the lady with the 2
Rachel.
coins. I'm sorry about that. That's why I can't call on you. But I
Oh,
want to
it's
get
okay.
to you. Okay, and then I want to get to Des because you guys didn't speak yet. Mr. Foe, please stay around. We're going to get to you. Thank you so much for the mods for being here as well. Tap the screen as much as you can. Share the live. Random foods are going in the comment section. I'll put fried sweet plantains and beef patty. I'm Jamaican. Beef patties. Okay, so just contribute, interact with the live. Thank you. Go ahead. Rachel is your name? I'm sorry.
Rachel, yes, thank you. I was thinking about what if women got together and taught ourselves and our daughters self-defense, just completely, like for all women. What do you think?
I think that's happening.
That's happening. I know that I have a few friends who have daughters, and they're raising them to, shoot pew pews very young. They're teaching them about. It's happening already. Girls have to, and even now, people, oh, your voice is shaky. Well, because I'm working out. All women should be working out. Now that men are not your hobby, get in the gym. That'll be your new hobby. There's no excuse. These are times for you to be strong and not, what do they call it? Fear mongering. What men are doing, that it's going to get worse. We're just going to get more violent. Okay, so find out.
I mean, I've been trying to plant a seed of gender segregation for a few months now because of movements very similar to this. And to paint a picture, I think that better helps people understand is because people seem to only be able to think in the sense of the United States, obviously this isn't going to happen the way I'm saying it, but it would be ideal if we were to split the country in half. Men on one side, men on one side, women on the other side. The people who decide to still cohabitate with men and women can come somewhere in the middle, but ultimately that's what 4B is. 4B is the women who are like, nah, fuck all that. I'm not having it whatsoever. I don't care. If you decide that you want to do it, sure, go ahead, go to the middle. And when you're done with that shit, you're more than welcome to come back. And men can have the same thing happening on their side. No one's saying that, there needs to be violence or put them on an island and, blow it up. No one's saying that whatsoever. But ultimately, it's women reclaiming their. Sorry, I had the timer go off. It's women reclaiming their independence, their want to be separate. And I mean, hearing people have so much pushback against this kind of blows my mind because what is the fucking problem with somebody saying that they don't want to be bothered with? I mean, even if you took this on an individual level, if someone's constantly pushing and pushing and pushing on you, and you say, listen, all right, listen, I just have to disengage. You look crazy continuously trying to, walk up on them and be like, but I want to talk, but this is what's happening.
That again goes to the lukewarm attitudes that women have when it comes to men. Most of the DMs that I get about West 4B come from two groups. People who are married and people who are in relationships. I don't understand. This is not for you. If you're in a happy relationship with a man, please continue to be happy. This is not for you. And I need you for women to understand that. No one is forcing you to give up your cock. I promise you we won't. Keep it. Love it, endure it, own it. But don't come to me and tell me, I think what you're doing is wrong. As a woman who's married,
I mean,
I
you
think
could
it's
just
extreme.
simply support.
So the only way that they could kind of remove the natural order of that doesn't exist in nature, that doesn't exist in their own ideology, would be to create a deity that no one can talk to. You know what I mean?
Right. Only God's chosen. A man of God. He knows what God wants and what God is saying for us.
So hold on, Empress. So the content. Yeah, hold on. The content is very spicy. Please tap the screen as much as you can to protect the live. Random words in the comment section to engage with the live. Share the live and interact with the live as much as you can to keep it protected. Okay, T, you can go ahead.
Say on a more pragmatic level, and I have talked about this before with my girlfriends and on lives, but the reality is that I think it was, that switch, albeit there, maybe some deeper reasons, but ultimately it was kind of the urbanization of cities, the decentralization of goods and services, the creation of currency that motivated, and then the onslaught of kind of major wars that kind of motivated men to want men in power to occupy mediocre men, to occupy the foot soldiers, to give them all little mini kingdoms, some to lord over. And because women and children are valuable, then they became a wealth building tool or a sign of achievement for men to own, right? Whereas before that, in a more egalitarian and community oriented situation, that wasn't necessary for them. But once you centralize goods, services, create a currency, create wars where you need more bodies and more bodies, then you're going to have these kinds of systems. And I feel like men don't really want to look at the reality of that and the kind of the documented transfer of power, because it doesn't fit into their current narrative. And they've been lying to themselves for so long.
Yeah, and I say that on my other page, in the religion page that I do. Like you can't de-center men if you don't deconstruct from these religions. Men had to do something to center themselves because they were never centered. They invented the soul, they invented the spirit, they invented God, they invented all of that shit to kind of center their existence on the planet because they didn't have anything else to kind of make them feel special. So they told everybody what they wanted to tell them in regards to the soul and the spirit, and boom, this is what you have it. And then the whole story of Christ being in some woman's package, what she does, sold back to women, and this is what it is now. It's all bullshit. Women should reject it all. Religion, soul, spirit, all of the nonsense. Rely on yourself, what you can plant like KGR, and survive that way.
100%. 100%.
I have a question for you. I'm just wondering, and
You broke up.
Rose
again.
eyes.
You can go ahead, flat. What is that, Mr. Mac? Mr. Mac.
You're muted, sweetie.
You have to unmute.
I was muted by someone there. The question is, in what way do you feel women are superior to men?
We have two X's.
Biologically?
Mm-hmm. Well, in whatever ways. I just hear someone say
research.
Well, that's all we need is the X's, honey.
Time is bigger than the Y chromosome.
Well, this too, right? Since you're so curious to request, wait, and then be brought up, did you, at any point, when you heard that, just say, well, let me think about it. Let me do my own research before I go up there?
No, he didn't. Why
because
would he?
It seems like if you're already asking that, especially when I just said it, that means that something triggered you and you just immediately reacted instead of maybe going and doing research.
No. Well, I don't think you understand. I'm someone who literally delves into this stuff. I have done for years. I've been an activist for nearly 30 years.
What type of activist? Activist for what?
Anti-imperialist, socialist, Republican activist.
Sure. So you never hit a science book ever?
What country you from?
Right.
So it's not. I don't understand why you have to use the language of someone being triggered. I'm asking the question. If I was
Does
triggered,
that trigger you?
No, I'm
Because
not. I'm.
this
I,
is
No,
this is the reason.
I literally,
Mac,
I
because
just, I just
I'm not sure
see
how to, sir,
the problem is that there's like a victimhood,
The problem
victimhood
is that
thing
nobody's going
where
to be able
everyone's
to
being
hear
triggered.
you,
you
Mac.
have to wait a minute, Mr.
The
Mack.
problem that I have with a lot of men that come up here, well, at least the ones that are confident enough to come up here, okay, and ask stuff that they do, is that they almost want us to bottle feed them information that you can literally find out within a minute, since you
Right.
do have access to the internet. Have you never picked up any sort of anthropologist book? Typically one that's
Never.
not already a misogynist, maybe